I open the hearing for the Barnstable Conservation Commission, I'll take the roll for the quorum purposes. Tangney present. Sampu.
Present.
Kashulik.
Present.
DeMello.
Present.
Abadili.
Present.
We're waiting on Tom.
No, Tom Lee just joined us.
Oh, perfect. Lee.
Present.
Excellent. Staff member Kim Kavanaugh.
Present.
Agent Brady Hill.
Present.
And Administrator Ed Hoops. He may be joining us or joining in, correct? So Bill Hearn is absent tonight. We have a quorum, Mr. Chair. It's all yours.
Thank you. Sorry I'm late. Acting under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and Chapter 237 of the Code of the Town of Barnstable, the Barnstable Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, November the 25th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. for the applications of Sally Burke, West Barnstable Aquarium Trust, 207 Crystal Lake Road, LLC, John M. Jr. and Kimberly H. Tumley, Patricia and Thomas Butler. This hearing is being recorded and broadcasted on the Town of Barnstable's Government's Access Channel. The plans and application are on file may be reviewed by scheduling appointments by sending email requests to @hoops at 230 South Street, Hyannis. In accordance with the Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 20, please let the chair know if anyone is recording this hearing. Hearing none, tonight's hearing agenda is posted on the town's website. On the agenda, next to each application is the amount owed to the Town of Barnstable for the cost of advertisement. Please send your checks to the Conservation Division at 230 South Street before the hearing. Remote participations. The Conservation Commission's public hearing will be held by remote participation as a result of an act extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed up by the Governor on March 28, 2025, suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law. Remote public access to this hearing shall be provided in the following manner. 1. The hearing will be televised via Xfinity Channel 8 or High Definition Channel 1072. It may also be accessed via Town of Barnstable's Government's Access Channel. 2. The real-time public comment can be addressed to the Conservation Commission utilizing the Zoom link 838-6828-4997 or use the toll-free phone number 888-475-4499 as shown on the agenda. 3rd, the public can also email the comments to edwin.hoops@town.barnstable.ma.us at least 8 hours prior to the hearing. For your information, under the continuance tonight, the applicants for 108 Long Beach Road, SE3-6289 has requested for a continuance without testimony to January 6, 2026. Tonight we have one RDA, Sally Burke, West Barnstable Aquarium Trust, Meadow Path Maintenance and confirmations of the BVW, wetland delineation at 2320 Meeting House Way, West Barnstable, as shown on the Assessors Map 155, parcel 032-001. Dan?
Good evening, Chairman Lee, members of the Commission. Dan Ojala from Downkeep Engineering. I'll share my screen here. Here's the plan. Working for the Burke family, West Barnstable Equestrian Trust. It's a nice horse farm. It's a couple of properties. The one we're looking at in specific is Lot 5. It's a plan that Downkeep did back in the early 80s or late 80s, I guess I would say. But the wetlands are out here in West Barnstable, can be a little bit variable. There's some clay soils that hold up, pools of water, and it's always a tricky delineation out here. So we wanted to just confirm the resource area delineation. We hired a professional wetland scientist, Paul Shea, to take a look at the lines. He spent a good amount of time on the property, flagged, not really specific to us, but there's a little wetland off of the trail Perkins that all go in on the north side. And all we're really doing here is confirming the resource areas. And I think Paul did a good job. I went out there and walked the whole thing. We located them. It goes up and down the slope a little bit. There's some areas you really wouldn't think are wetlands, but there's just enough plants, and it was kind of wet when he was doing it, December of 23. So we held what I think it's a nice conservative delineation. I don't think you'll have any issues with it. If you had a chance to get out there, I think you'd agree that it's a safe delineation. It's been fairly dry since, so it's probably extra conservative nowadays. But just maintaining the existing paths. There's horses that have run. We had the trail runs around the outside, nicks into what you would call technically wetland here or there. But again, they're just horses and paths that have been there for 30 years. And nothing really here except just maintaining those horse paths and locking in the resource area for 3 years, we hope. Hopefully you'll agree with the delineation, and I'd be glad to answer any questions if you have them. Thank you.
Thank you. Brady, did you get a chance to look at the delineations?
I went out there, didn't get all the way back, but I saw some of the flags. I didn't have any issues with it.
Thank you. Any question from the commissioner? None?
It's pretty straightforward.
Yep. Chair of 18, any public comment on this one?
Seeing none.
None? Could I have a motion to approve this project as a negative determination?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili,
Aye.
DeMello,
Aye.
Kashulik,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Sampu,
Abstain because I was absent from this.
Tangney, aye. So that's 5 and 1 abstain.
Thank you. Good luck.
Excellent. I appreciate you careful consideration, and thank you.
We have 3 NOIs, and the first one is 207 Crystal Lake Road LLC to demolish existing dwelling and construct a new dwelling with all associated appurtenances and proposed pool at 207 Crystal Lake Road, also as shown on Assessors Map 139, parcel 054. John?
Good evening, John O'Day from Sullivan Engineering Consulting, representing the applicants. I will share the plan with you. As you stated, this project's at 207 Crystal Lake Road. It's a parcel of land, a little under an acre, that abuts Crystal Lake. Our wetland resource would be the land underwater body, and then an inland bank along it is what we took our buffer zone from. Site's developed with a single-family dwelling dating to the 20s. It's seen better days if you've been to the site. We have an undisturbed 50-foot buffer. We're proposing to demolish the house, build a new house generally where the main box of the existing is, and a pool to the side of it, kind of generally where the existing garage's end of the house is. All works outside of the 50-foot buffer. The existing undisturbed will remain. We've got a limit of work set up, drainage taken care of, pool disinfection specified. I hope that this is a pretty straightforward project for you all.
Thank you, John. John, I think I need a revised plan to show the dimensions, some of the building stuff. Right now, there's nothing mentioned in there.
We could give some overall pool building dimensions to give a better scale of it. We did have all the offsets to the property lines to locate it, but we could certainly do that.
Okay. Question from the commissioner, Angela.
Yeah, I have 2 questions. One, you're not removing any trees, correct?
No trees in the 50-foot buffer. There is, 1 tree here where the patio is. So there is a couple of trees landward of the 50-foot buffer, but nothing.
I think I'm referring to, I saw 2 that are right at your work zone because your work zone is right on the 50-foot. Am I reading that correctly? I did walk the property.
You are correct that it was right on the 50-foot.
Is there any way you can pull that a little bit back from right on the 50?
I think we could probably pull back the northeastern end of it and run it more sort of parallel with the wall in here without much of an issue.
Yeah.
Okay, I just would like to see that because it seems like you're gonna have this whole new lot once this is demolished. And if you could just move it a little, I saw 2 trees that you definitely would be on the safer side, the landward street side of, if you could do that. So I was hoping you maybe could pull it back if you're gonna do a revised plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. John? John?
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Actually, Angela, you and I were on the same thought path there. If you look at the proposed patio, for example, that is literally right touching against the 50-foot and the hay bale line. And so my question is will construction activity get into that 50-foot zone? How are you going to build that without getting into the 50 with some of the building equipment, foundations, or whatever else is necessary, John? So I'm a little concerned that you are literally touching that 50-foot, which should be demarcated, I assume.
That is on the plan.
And so I kind of agree with Angela. I think if there's some way to pull that back 10 feet or 5 feet at least, I think that would be necessary.
I think we can certainly pull the limit of work back as we discussed there on that eastern side. Our excavation heavy equipment or whatever, I mean, we're probably 20 feet past the limit of work. There's a little bit of a patio arc there that's getting close to it, but I don't think that's like digging a foundation or anything of those sorts. So,
well, then I need your assurance that in fact there would be no intrusion beyond the work limit line into the 50-foot buffer zone, period, under any circumstances. And again, I'm not a contractor, but I just get a little concerned. You put the proposed lawn right up to it. The proposed patio was literally touching the work limit line. So I was just a little concerned with practically how you're going to do that without invading the 50. And I think that's where I sort of think, Angela, that's kind of where you were going with your concerns.
Exactly, yes.
Other than that, I'm okay with it.
I think that we could certainly sort of reinforce your concern there with more than just the labeling, here's the hay bales. I think we could certainly put an additional note on there of there can be no disturbance beyond this limit of work.
Right, because if they accidentally make a patio a little longer, it's in the resource there forever. And that's what we're really trying to avoid, is that
I think that we can
keeping this undisturbed. Thank you.
reinforce what the intent of the limit of work is and adjust it.
Is it wise maybe you put something other than just hay bales there to demarcate that during construction? I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. That's all. You know. And again, I don't know how the other commissioners feel. Maybe my concern's not warranted, but I think Angela and I were bringing that up.
John,
Yeah.
John, today, I think you can put a distance for that from the top of that proposed patio to show the distance to the resource. I think that would be more than 50, maybe 51, 52, because your symbol for the hay bale line may be too large graphically.
Yes,
you may not need that much space in there.
I think that's true.
And then the other side too is on the step, on the other porch on the step. If you look at that, that was right on the 50. If you can put it back outside the 50, that would be, if you can do that, that would be fine. You know what I'm saying?
I understood what you were saying about the making sure that there was a dimension to show that patio arch was not 50, was more than 50 feet.
Right.
And I think that the patio on the western side,
the left-hand side, you look
just connecting down to that existing pathway is what those lines were.
Okay.
Rob has his hand up, page 2.
Rob?
John, can you scroll this down so we can see where Crystal Lake is? I'm sorry, Crystal Lake Road.
Crystal Lake Road.
Yeah, up high.
Up.
So I went there this afternoon, and I mean, it's dilapidated. It's all falling apart as you stated. But my question is there any way, I mean, I'm kind of repeating what everybody said, but can we pull that whole house and pool and everything closer to the road a little bit? I mean, why does it have to be that much structure between the 50 and the 100? That's my only question. There may be a reason for it. You know, the view, whatever it may be, but it's just, it's such a huge front yard, and we're pushing everything right up to the limit. I don't know, I think you could go forward 20 feet, because I was out there looking at it, bring the house forward 20 feet, the pool, the garage, I don't know, I'm just asking a question. And I don't see a planting plan, so what are we doing for plantings?
We're not doing any plantings because we have a 50-foot undisturbed
Okay.
buffer. So that, and I think that is sort of a leading point of this project, is that, you know, the commission's regulations basically presume that if there's a 50-foot undisturbed buffer, then a project would not have negative impacts on the wetland resource.
Okay.
Our house is where the house is. I mean, you can see there's the existing line of the house. We're putting the house back where the house is. Would like to keep it in proximity to the lake. We understand that we don't really, in doing that, we don't get a backyard. And I think that's kind of why we've got it sort of set up as being a patio area, so that it's not a lawn that's stretching anywhere.
Okay, that was my question. I'm just, you know.
Yep.
Is there a demarcation on it, Tom? Well, Lee?
We do have that noted over here of 4x4 stone posts, 10 to 15 feet on center along this line.
Right. Pete?
So yes, thank you. Mr. O'Day, just assure me and my fellow commissioners that there's not any heavy equipment just gouging, trampling, compacting the roots of these trees that are at 50 feet, at 51 feet. I'm perfectly fine as long as these trees I've got right across my street, they brought in heavy machinery, and there's not going to be a friggin' tree left alive with the, you know, treads going over these roots. So assure me, as you mentioned, heavy equipment is not coming close to the 50 foot, and that these trees that are right at this edge will remain alive without having really stressful root damage. Thank you.
I don't
see, what about a condition in there that in the event there's damage, they will be replaced? If we added that condition, Peter Sampo?
Yeah, but you're not going to replace one of these big trees with something you can bring in there, you know, and plant.
No, that's true.
No. Any other question from the commissioner?
So John,
I don't foresee an issue with any root damage. This is sort of kind of going off a slope, so you know these trees are probably, the base of these trees are 2 or 3 feet below where the grade is up at this patio. So
okay,
I think that
and the heavy equipment is more where the house is as opposed to the patio. And
the excavation would really be the house and the pool.
Okay, thank you very much, John.
Any other question from the commissioner? Channel 18, any public comment on this?
Seeing none.
None. Could I have a motion to approve these projects with subject to the receipt of a revised plan showing the relocations of the hay bale lines, you know, on the east side
So moved.
of the lot, and then plus a dimension the distance label from the resource to the top of the proposed patio area.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
DeMello.
Aye.
Kashulik.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Sampu.
Aye.
And Tangney, aye. That's unanimous, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next one is John M. Jr. and Kimberly H. Toomey. proposed landscaping retaining wall to level existing lawn area at 255 Eel River Road, Osterville, as shown on the Assessors Map 115, Parcel 005. John?
Good evening, John O'Day from Sullivan Engineering Consulting, again representing these applicants at 255 Eel River Road. We have a property that is, again, a little under an acre. We are abutting West Bay. We have land under ocean, coastal beach. There's some salt marsh. There had been a coastal dune here. Upper beach, I don't know, it's not very undulating, but we held that resource delineation. There's a town-defined coastal bank above the existing boathouse. The slopes start to taper off, and we just become a state-defined coastal bank on the southern 2/3 of the property. We have an existing dwelling that was rebuilt in 2005. Our project as proposed is to construct landscape walls to try to flatten out this lawn, make it more functional, make it appear better. Those walls are located within the existing lawn area. They have been designed to be, and there's a cross section up in the corner, sort of two lower tiered walls to create this little bit of grade change. We have added the proposed contour on this. So again, this proposed 14 is really following along the existing 14. We're cutting the grade above it about a foot. We're filling the grade down below it about a foot. Pretty minor change in the overall landform out there. We have provided buffer zone calculations. We are providing mitigation for that slight increase in hardscape. I don't think that this will have any impact on the stability of the coastal bank. I don't think it'll have any impact on the beach or the marsh that's located out by the water's edge. We just hope that this can be a good opportunity for them to improve their yard and at the same time be making some improvement in the buffer zone for the commission. I think with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, John. John?
The heights of the walls, Tom Lee, you know better than I would. The heights of the walls are what, based on these elevations you provided?
I have these.
John.
So the lower wall, it's basically two 2-foot walls. The lower walls, the base is at 9, the top is at 11. The upper wall is more set up to be like a sitting wall, so the face of it will be a little over 3 feet, but the actual retainage is about 2 feet.
Okay. Second question, because this is a pretty good slope. When I was walking that, the lower wall is literally touching the buffer zone right there. Well, not the buffer zone, but it was literally touching the vegetation right along it. So I got a little nervous that to protect that vegetation. How many cubic yards of fill are you going to have to bring in there after those walls are built?
I've estimated it's about 20 yards. Again, we're cutting the upper half of the lawn, and these little kind of are 2 steps down to try to kind of make that assist in that cutting the grade. So we're cutting the top half, we're filling the bottom half. It is about 20 yards.
About 20, okay. That makes me feel a little bit better, because if you use the existing slope of that yard and the height.
Yes, and I think that the cutting was something that was added into the design. It started off as just being a filling. It started off as a one wall, and they've tried to kind of work to soften it in every direction they can.
And the other thing I kind of wonder, because of the slope, and again, there was pretty good vegetation there to West Bay, but I was kind of wondering if you leveled it off, you put in those walls, will that in fact, and then the additional mitigation between the first and second wall. So I kind of concluded that probably this is an environmental gain in my mind. I don't know if some of the others would disagree with that, but that's kind of the conclusion I ended up with as I left there.
Appreciate that.
Angela?
Yeah, thank you, Tom. Yeah, John, I walked it too, and I think it was I don't know if I missed it or whatever, poorly staked. All I saw were the stakes for the wall, but I didn't see anything for the work zone or the lower wall or where the buffer was. So I don't think it was marked very well. And then I didn't quite understand the need for the lower wall in that resource area that I get. It's somewhat disturbed, but I just don't understand why you need a lower wall. And then what were you going to use for fill? Like you're just going to fill it up? I'm sorry, I don't understand the project as even after I walked it. If you can explain again why the need for the lower wall and why we need to be in that resource area at all.
So we felt as a team that having a tiered wall was less impactful. That having a 2-foot wall, I don't know that anyone would ever even see this from the ocean behind the vegetation or not, but that was just our kind of philosophy going in. This was to try to not be building big walls. We set it up as this terraced situation so that we could accomplish that with 2 smaller walls. And again, this is working within the existing lawn area.
Right. I understand the upper one. I just don't understand the lower part.
And the lower part is in the existing lawn too.
So they're right next to each other and you're just going to fill them right in the lawn part.
That's correct.
Okay. Got it. I understand that better now. Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yes, it's a classic terrace, Angela.
A double,
Classic
like it's
terrace.
doubled. Got it. Okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
classic.
John, Pete.
Mr. O'Day, quick question here. Now, your lower terraced area, the one that folks have been talking about, elevation 9 goes up to elevation 11. You've got that area flat. Is this an area that will be used by the owners so that it is very important to be flat? Or my question here being, could less fill be put up there if that lower wall was only 12 to 16 inches high and you had a slight slope up to the larger wall that is providing the flatter area for the applicants? That's my question. Thank you.
So the space between those walls is really only 4 feet, and it is to be planted. So this will not be a used area whatsoever. Could they make up a couple of inches between those in that 4 feet to either lower the lower wall or have less reveal on the upper wall? Maybe. There's not a lot that I think could be accomplished in.
But give that a thought. I really don't see the necessity of having it, really, really level between those 2 walls. I'm not, a horticulturist. I'm not planting the stuff there, but I really don't think that you need it to be absolutely level. Thank you.
Okay.
John, the way that I'm looking at it, the other commissioner can let me know whether I'm speaking it right or not, and you guys can correct me. What is the distance between RA2 and RA3 to the retaining wall? To me, looking at it, is very close to the resource area. In this project, you're building 2 retaining wall, and you take up quite a big chunk of the area within the 50-foot buffer, very close to the resource, and you build it up so that you can use the upper, retaining wall as the usable space, like you said, on the lawn. But part of that is within the 50. Am I correct?
You are correct. It is within the 50.
So then, basically, let's say if we are approving this, basically we're saying that, yeah, go ahead and build hardscape and raise up the level in the 50. We are fine with it. That I have some trouble of going through on my mind as I'm going through.
I think that Commissioner Abadili sort of walked through his thought process, and I think that ours on our end, and hopefully it was in the narrative. We think that the flattening the lawn is going to lessen any runoff that's coming towards the resource. We think that the mitigation, we think, again, it's really important that this is all within the existing lawn. We are not disturbing any of the natural buffer zone. We're within the existing lawn. We're reducing potential runoff. We're adding mitigation, which will be better for infiltration. We'll have some wildlife habitat. So I appreciate your concern, but I think that was our sort of thought process. And again, we took some steps to even get it to this point to try to, minimize what we thought could be impacts out there of lowering the upper grade so that we're not bringing in much material. Although it's more square footage, which means it's more mitigation, we felt that having those terrace walls was sort of less of an impact in different ways.
Thank you, John. John?
I got granddaughter just walked in. Go away. Sorry about that. Yeah, again, John, geez, it was funny because when I went out there, I said, my God, why are they doing that? And it's going to be in the 50 and blah, 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 blah. But then when I sat and looked at what exists now, and the fundamental legal question is, can this project be conditioned and done with conditions such that it does not impact negatively? Our goal, obviously, as commission is even more than that, if we can, to say, does it in fact have a positive environmental impact? And then when I saw the lowering of the lawn, the leveling of that area, because there's a good slope right there, the runoff is going to be significant. It's all grass. So then I saw the existence of the walls and all the mitigation that's going to be additional mitigation placed on that second wall or between the two walls. That's where I ended up saying, overall, on balance, it is a positive environmental project. And again, maybe there's wiser commissioners than I, but that's kind of how I concluded. Which is why anyways, that's all. That's where I came out on this.
Thank you, John.
Despite Tom Lee, your legitimate concerns, by the way.
Yeah.
I think your concerns are absolutely correct.
Angela?
And I want to agree with you, John Abadili. And I do, as far as the resource goes, where he's losing the lawn there. But thank you, Jeff, for explaining to me, and I understand the terrace business now. But when I look down, now that we're all saying we're looking at this resource and how it's going to be, I noticed an awful lot of sand brought down on what they're calling a coastal beach, which looks like they're already intruding on this resource area. So now we're allowing them to have some of the 50 because they're agreeing to plant in there, and it looks like they're creeping from the water side up with some sand that was, maybe it was before they owned the house, but I don't see this as a place where the resource is being left alone and preserved. I see this as all encroachment from both sides. So somebody explain that to me, why I'm seeing this wrong. Thank you.
Tom, can I jump in on Angel's point?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I was actually going to ask Ed or Brady, since he's the Ed today. There's a huge beach house there, Angela, as you saw, it's huge. There's a huge beach there. And one of my concerns is this one of these things where, I know if Bill Hearn was here, he'd be saying, wait a minute, is this one of these things where that beach has grown over the years or added illegally or whatever? So if the answer is yeah, they've been violating that, then I have a whole different set of concerns, Angela. My assumption was they're not, but that is a very legitimate question to be asked.
Right. I'm just feeling encroachment from both sides there, and it could be just when I'm looking at the wrong thing maybe, but that's what I see.
I'm just pulling up I have an aerial from 2014 and the site looks as it does today. These owners purchased in 2020, so I don't think that they bought this house, having and the site in the condition it's in. I don't think that they have pushed any boundaries that I'm aware of.
But there is a big sandy beach that is not what I would call a coastal beach. It is a sand brought in man-made thing right near their boat beach house.
Could we condition it
today?
Could Tom Lee, how would you feel or John or anybody, how would you feel if we added a condition, if it was approved, that said the staff would be requested to review this from a compliance or enforcement, whatever the word is, prior to issuing the order? Is that something we could do to alleviate, to either say, yes, Angela, your concerns are absolutely right, or no, they are not encroaching? I mean, if we had an answer to that, I think Angela and I would be more comfortable.
So, John,
I just procedurally don't know how to do that, Angela.
no, I think, John, you can put a condition in there as for staff to review the beach. But what happens if the beach is man-made and not permitted? That becomes an enforcement issue, right?
Yeah.
So
that's a separate issue from here. Okay.
right. Rob?
I'm looking at this from my perspective and from my design. I see the two walls. The one's, the upper wall, then it cuts down part of the same wall, a little lower, and then you have your lower wall and the 4-foot area that's going to be planted. I understand all that. But why do we need two walls? Why couldn't we come on, John, where your pencil is on your CAD drawing?
Yeah.
If you were to continue that wall and just where it says top of State Coastal Bank, continue it, that one wall along the contour, between contour 11. So you have your upper wall.
This is the upper wall. This is the lower wall ended.
So if we were to continue the upper wall instead of jogging down, why can't we just come across all the way along contour 11 with one wall and then plant everything down below? You're not going to on the beach.
We were avoiding the tree. It's sort of how this ended up with the jog.
And
so
I agree
if we went below and then we were filling, I think would be concerned, is that impacting the tree?
But if you keep the upper wall in front of the tree where you have it, but just get rid of the lower stuff and just make one radius wall along contour 11. And then everything from contour 11 to the hay bales would be planted. I don't understand why you need to terrace it. Now, if they were going to see it, 100%, I get it. But if you eliminate that lower wall, make one radius along contour 11, and then plant everything below it up to the hay bales, I don't know. I mean, there's a method to your madness, and I understand that.
The applicants are never going to see this wall because they're sitting on the lawn above it.
Exactly. So
I think that our terracing it was more of a thought of, from the resource, is there less of a visual of a 2-foot wall with planting in front of it than a 4-foot wall?
I think if you were to plant, let's say your typical inkberry cluster, it's going to be above the wall a little bit. You're never going to see it from, the resource area, if you will. And the customer is going to be able to look right over it, and it's still doing its job. It's stopping the runoff because you're raising it. But if you fill that with plantings, I personally feel it would look better, but that's just me, but I don't know. I just don't understand why you need to terrace it if nobody's going to use it, nobody's going to see it.
You also don't want to make it a fall protection wall.
A what?
A wall that's over, if you go over 30 inches, now all of a sudden you have to start putting fencing on top of it.
Fencing.
Maybe that's another consideration of why we would prefer to be at 2-foot walls.
That's fine. I mean, it was just something that I saw, and I'm like, when I went there, I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me. But I mean, you've explained a lot already, so I get it. But I just wanted that clarification.
Yeah. Angela.
Yeah, and I just wanted to piggyback because I thought the same thing, Rob, and now that I understand they wanted the two-wall terrace, that is because they do want it to look like that from the water side. You're right, John O'Day. Nobody's going to see it from up at the house, but they want it done this way because from what I saw from the dock and that beach area, it will look very different from that side, correct?
Yes.
So this was done for aesthetics from looking from the water side, not from the house.
I don't see how they're
Minimizing the aesthetics from the
Okay, that's all.
other
Yep.
side. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Tom. Yeah, Tom Lee. Jeffrey. You know what? This almost never happens, and we probably don't have the authority to request it. But before I ask the question, John O'Day, what is the distance from the existing grass area, lower wall, edge of lower wall to end of existing grass as it exists today? What is? And I know it's curved, so it's not it's not going to be identical. But what do we have for distance?
We range from like 6 inches to 18 inches inside of the edge of lawn. That makes sense.
That looks bigger than 6 to 18 inches. The lower wall to the edge of the grass.
Yes, I think the limit of work is basically set on the edge of the grass.
Edge of the okay. Well, I mean the suggestion is: am I looking at 625 square feet of proposed mitigation?
Yes.
Yes.
Why not fill the from the limited work area? I don't know what that square footage is, but Bill and Pete and John, Angela, they're always all over this right here. Make that entire bank mitigation.
It is pretty well. I don't know if you get out there, Jeff, but it's heavily vegetated now. Because that was one of the things I looked at. And then I walked down, probably like Angela, walked down to the beach and looked back up at that. So he's got grass right up to it. Then it's fairly heavily vegetated all the way down to the water's edge, except for the beach.
No. I see that, but I'm looking at the work limit line.
Okay, I guess maybe I'm misunderstanding. Just sorry.
Yeah, no. I'm talking about taking it from the work limit line right to the edge of the wall, the lower wall.
Well, it is.
I think that if there's any disturbance below the wall, that would be between the wall and the limit of work. And even when the hay bales come back, I mean, I think that certainly additional plants could be put back along this area without. The hatching doesn't even fit on the 20 scale, but we could certainly do additional plants in that. There will not be lawn left there. So
John Abadili, the area I'm specifically talking about on this plan is, you see where the wording is proposed mitigation 625.
Yeah.
If you look due north of that right there, that entire scope. And maybe I can't feel the.
And I think that this is. I should change the color. I think that the lawn actually jogs up there, and that's why our line sort of. That's the edge of the lawn. So there will,
I think to answer Jeff's questions, if you build the lower retaining wall, that means you need to dig that up to get the foundations for the lower retaining wall. So on the back side or the front side of the retaining wall would have some excavations and backfill, and you may need some vegetation.
Should be restored with the mitigation area.
Right.
I don't foresee any. I would have no issue with that.
Because that lower wall is literally right against existing vegetation. So I think there is going to be some damage here and does need to be restored.
Right.
As well as the new mitigation.
Right. Any questions from the commissioner? Channel 18, any public comment on this?
Seeing none.
I saw a hand up before.
Yeah, I think
there was somebody. Mike, somebody wants.
Sorry, Mike.
Hi, Mike Champer. I'm in a butter on the north side The only question I have is, Mr. Day, have you looked at the potential impact on drainage and runoff on the abutter's property? You're bringing the grade up. That water has to go somewhere. Where's it going?
I'll share the plan again. So the grade is really just changing in the center of the property, and the proposed contour lines, as minimal as they are, I would say are concave on the property. Is that the right word? So any water is just directing towards the walls, not changing any runoff towards either side. There's really no work within 30 feet of either sideline that would impact runoff.
And okay, that does make sense, and that's true, I'm assuming, on the south side as well.
Both sides, both ends of walls are about 30 feet off the lot lines.
And one final question, if I may. You're going to bring in, I think I heard a fair amount of fill. Is that going to be coming in between the property line and the 15-foot buffer between the properties? How are you going to get I mean, that's a lot of equipment and trucks going in and out, I would assume.
I don't think that they'll get trucks back there. I think that this will be done with smaller equipment, skid steer or something. I have not had a discussion on whether it's going on the north side of the house or the south side of the house, but it would not be going
with trucks
near the property line in the 50-foot buffer. Again, it would, if it came on the north side, it would sort of just follow that grass line coming into the backyard.
Okay, I have no objection. We have no objection to this project.
Thank you.
Beyond the concerns about drainage.
Channel 18, any more public comment on this one?
Seeing none.
So John, I'm looking for at least minimum of a revised plan showing the distance between RA3 to the lower retaining wall and maybe RA4 to the lower retaining walls for the distance, and then for any damage on the front or the backside of the lower retaining wall, you need to mitigate. You need to planting it, and then you report for 3 years. And the staff should look at check a file on the coastal beach locations, whether it was previously permitted or not.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
DeMello.
Aye.
Kashulik.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Sampu.
Aye.
And Tangney, aye. That's unanimous, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, everybody.
John.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
The last NOI is Patricia and Thomas Butler. Raise and replace existing single-family homes at pool and pool house. Invasive species removal and mitigation planting, replacing lawn are proposed at 105 Scudder Lane, Barnstable, as shown on the Assessors Maps 258 parcel 014. Dan?
Yes, good evening, Chairman Lee, members of the Barnstable Conservation Commission. My name is Dan Ojala. Here, Bernice Waller, the landscape architect, is also online, and we're representing Thomas and Patricia Butler at a very nice little property on 105 Scudder's Lane in the north side of town. We're respectfully asking to raise and replace an existing dated single-family home. It's from about 1964. The property is almost 74,000 square foot. There's a little wetland in the southeast corner. You'll see, I'll share my plan so you can see that. So here's the site plan we prepared for the property. It's again a three bedroom existing 1964. There's a BVW. We had Paul Shea, a wetland scientist, to locate this, and that transitions to like a little vegetated, it's a mowed ditch, but it kind of holds a little bit of water along Scudder's Lane there. So that sets up a buffer that cuts across the east side of the property, west a little, and then hits south and returns about in the, say about the center of the lot. So the whole northwest corner is outside of your jurisdiction where the driveway, septic, most of the house and the garage are. But within your jurisdiction, we are proposing only within existing lawn areas to redevelop the site. And per your new mitigation, or I say new, but I guess we've been around a while, the mitigation calculations, it's going to be a big win for the environment because we're pulling up about 11,000 square foot of lawn and putting in just a ton of plantings. We can show you on Bernice's landscape plan, and you probably had a chance to look at it, but a very extensive native landscape to enhance that buffer. So the numbers are 11,056 square foot of mitigation within existing lawn areas, very key here. And that's about 550 square foot of invasive species removal would be on top of that. The BVW, again, Paul Shea flagged it. There's an existing disturbed 50-foot buffer. And so, unlike other ones tonight, or, one other one that they had a native buffer. This one has a disturbed buffer, and your regulations are very clear in that situation where you're adding some hardscape between the 0 to 50, 50 to 100. You have to mitigate at a 4 to 1 or 3 to 1 ratio. So you end up pulling up a ton of lawn, but we think it'll be, it will be a very, very nice project for the environment when we're done. We're increasing only about 163 square foot within the 0 to 50, and that's very de minimis things, like a little bit of, we're counting some wash stone drainage as hardscape. And then the whole lawn area around this little pool is draining into an area drain just outside the 50. So there won't be any of the lawn runoff heading towards the buffer, even though the buffer is increasing very significantly. We're looking at in the 50 to 100, there's a fair amount. It's a 2,800 square foot of hardscape above what's there now. And therefore you'd need, the calculations are on the plan, 9151 square foot. Again, we're well over that with the 11056 and plus invasives removal. So again, there's this site, by the way, it's all lawn right now. This is what it looks like, and it's a very well-defined edge. That photograph was in your package, so you can see the wetland it pretty much mirrors the edge of the clearing. It is the edge of lawn fairly closely around the site. That's just a quad map, but you can see extensive lawn areas on the site now, and that's a lot of that is going to be pulled up. The pool wants to be over here because it's in the middle of an open area behind the house. There's a huge beech tree and some other mature trees, and this is the area for it over here because we want to save all those trees that are behind the home. So Bernice has done a nice job on the landscape. Certainly, if you have any questions on the mitigation plantings and so forth, she can talk to that. Again, there's some invasive honeysuckle that we're removing and replacing with natives. And again, there's a big 30-inch beech over there that we're preserving. So that's really what's pushing the pool to this area. And I guess I would note too that this is historic lawn area. Here's the site back in 2001, and it's all completely field open, just like it is today. That's a little more tree cover, but that's the same exact lawn. So we haven't created any new lawn that we're getting credit for. It's all historic pasture-y type lawn that's being pulled up and replanted and revegetated. So we think it's a good project. There's again a little bit within the 0 to 50, but it's well back from the 50, and it's just tiny amounts of some gravel drip edge and a tiny bit of end of a wall, things like that. Almost everything else is outside of the 50, and we're paying 4 to 1 for that, and 3 to 1 for everything else. You end up with just a tremendous amount of mitigation. It'll be a great project for the environment and a good project for the owner. And I'd be glad to answer any questions, and Bernice can pipe in if she'd like, or we simply answer questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. One thing quick though is surrounding the pool, that solid line or dotted line from the engineering plant, is that a kind of like a short retaining wall?
It's my understanding that's just like a little gravel edging that looks like, just for kind of an accent stripe, but it'll serve to infiltrate some water. So basically, you could just think of it of a little, gravel edging around the pool area, just to kind of define it a little bit. If you look at the planting plan, it's shown there, and that's where we picked it up from. But that's part of the landscape design that differentiates, ornamental plantings, all native, pretty stuff from the lawn area. So that's why that's there.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Any question from the commissioner?
I have a few.
Yeah, Rob, go ahead.
First of all, there's a beautiful magnolia out there. I mean, it's absolutely stunning. And I mean, it says right on here, it says existing tree to remain. I hope that's the magnolia that I'm looking at. But it's absolutely gorgeous. And the willow, it's a nice willow too.
Yeah, it is. That tree is gorgeous. I'm glad you noticed it. That magnolia is to remain.
Okay. Now, I see OP everywhere with the hash marks. And, on the plan it says ornamental plantings. What does that mean? I mean, what are you planting in there?
Yeah, those are yet to be fully defined by the clients, but a lot of the OP that you're seeing that's adjacent to and underneath the meadow or the magnolia that we're talking about, we're basically going to be bringing that same meadow, some of that same meadow grassy language and forbs into that particular area. So our goal with this site is to really transition the entirety of the majority of that lawn into a more native planting palette. And those ornamental planting, that OP there is really just to help you discern what we're proposing as mitigation and what we're proposing as just additional planting that the clients are going to do in addition to the mitigation.
Now, I may have missed it, but what's around the pool? Is that all grass in there?
That would be a lawn area, yeah.
Yeah, there is some lawn around the pool for usability.
That's going to be a maintained manicured lawn.
Correct.
Yeah, and the note 25 on the plan, Rob, does refer, we're pitching that all carefully into this area drain right here, and that goes to a big subsurface dry well that's punched down through the clay, and so it'll infiltrate in the chance that there is some runoff, so that doesn't, if there is a little bit of fertilizer and so forth, it's a deep sump basin and not running into the wetland.
Now, did you say that that it looks like it would be a perimeter wall, but is that what you said was going to be stone?
Yeah, that I can maybe help clarify that. That I think we can think about that more as like a gravel mulch. It's just an area of gravel on the ground that we really try to use to help create that definition between the edge of the lawn to our ornamental planting, so that it just helps to define the lawn, creates a border, and it also is helping us to infiltrate any additional water that may be coming off of the lawn into the adjacent areas.
So is it just lawn? I'm sorry, is it just stone on the ground?
Yeah, it's like gravel mulch. Gravel mulch.
Rob, it's a drip edge. It's a gravel drip edge.
But is there anything catching it underneath?
It would just infiltrate. Water that would get into there would infiltrate. If you were interested there, we could actually put in a perf pipe or something that we could capture the water in there. If that was something.
Dan just mentioned that there is a dry well that's going to contain everything. I don't think it would hurt to see a perforated pipe under this.
Mm-hmm.
Just to catch some of it. If we have heavy downfall, heavy rain, where's that water going to go? If it goes over the stone, it's going to go. I mean, it'll go on the lawn, but would it get in the pool? Would that cause an issue? I mean, I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah, I think especially on the low side, we could put a 4-inch Schedule 40 perf pipe and pipe it right into the area drain. So But we'll carefully pitch the grade away from the pool so that it wouldn't certainly go into the pool, but B is going into the wetland, and that we can easily infiltrate it with that area drain. So I think perf pipe on the down gradient sides piped into the area drain would be a fine idea.
Okay. I mean, the properties, the trees on this property are stunning. You don't see them too often like that.
Yeah.
And please try to conserve as much of that as possible, because it'd be a shame to hurt any of those trees. They're gorgeous.
Yeah, we agree. And the owners actually agree with you as well.
Angela?
Yeah, thank you, Tom. And I agree that this is probably falls under the, it's going to be a much better resource area once it's not all this lawn. And I do like the plantings. My issue, I guess my question is 163 square feet in the 0 to 50 is not zero. You can say it's de minimis, but it's not zero. We don't have any engineering gurus here that can reduce that or take it out, so that it would be even better that we have all these plantings here and nothing in the 0 to 50 as we move forward. That's not possible.
That number that he's quoting you is really just for that drainage provision for the gravel drainage strip.
So the 163 square footage in the 0 to 50 is something that's only gravel drainage, nothing else.
Correct.
Well, to be clear, there's a tiny little, just on the edge of the 50
wall,
over there,
yeah.
there's a tiny little piece of retaining wall. But yeah, that's it. It's just a wash stone trench that infiltrates water. So we're kind of being penalized for being good guys, so hopefully we can let that slide.
And there's no way to get everything out of the 0 to 50.
Well, of course we could, but don't forget you're getting 4 to 1 for that. So I think
I get it, but I'm not saying we're going to get it. I just felt like I should ask, because
no, we absolutely
so much lawn, flat. I thought maybe we could just end with nothing in the 0 to 50, and then whoa, what a win! That's all.
Yeah. I think that it's such a de minimis thing when you look at it, and it does kind of square up. It's a nice symmetrical pool structure now. It'll probably catch the eye if we move it too much, and so would respectfully ask to leave it there, being that it's really just a drainage trench of inert wash stone, which is better for the environment than lawn probably.
Okay, thank you. I just had to ask. Thank you.
Sure, no, it's well received.
Any other question from the commissioner? Channel 18, any public comment on this one?
Seeing none.
None. Dan or Denise, do you need or do you want to have an ongoing invasive management with the conditions?
I wouldn't think we'd need that, being it's just a few honeysuckle bushes. It's not like Phragmites or something that's going to be really tenacious. So I think we'll be okay without it, but it's up to the discretion of the commission.
Because part of the thing you're mentioning about is the invasive, so that's what I'm asking. But if
I guess, Chairman Lee, that if that was part of the required mitigation, I think maybe that would be something that would be more appropriate. But here, where it's just a little bonus that we're getting rid of some honeysuckle and planting the area, maybe we could let it go without the expense of ongoing conditions.
Okay. Could I have a motion to approve these projects with the annual report for 3 years?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
DeMello.
Aye.
Kashulik.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Sampu.
Aye.
And Tangney. Aye. That's unanimous, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Have a really happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yep.
You too, Dan.
We have one continuance, Stephen and Wendy D'Angelo, to remove an existing ram and float system and permit a new pier ram and float at 108 Long Beach Road, the Assessors Map 206, parcel 005. This is SC 3-6289. This is a continuance from November the 4th. Without testimony, the quorum is everyone. The applicant has requested for a continuance without testimony to January 6, 2026. Could I have a motion to?
Excuse me, John, before you ask for the motion.
Yeah.
How many, this has been around a long, I remember 6 months ago, I think I went and looked at this thing. How many continuance, when was this first filed? How many continuances have been requested and granted?
I think it's 3. This would be the 4th.
That's
But
what I have as well.
there are extenuating circumstances here. We got pushed back on the waterway, so we're going to reduce the project, basically go away. All we're going to do is replace 2 piles and leave it exactly the same. So that's the reason for the request. We were going to do an expansion. It didn't go anywhere with waterways and the abutters, so we've retreated back to almost a nothing burger project. So it's kind of a unique situation.
Then if you still need the continuance, I'd make a motion to continue with a condition that this will be the last continuance granted in this. Otherwise, it has to be withdrawn and refiled.
Yeah.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili,
Aye.
DeMello,
Aye.
Koshulik,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Zampu,
Aye.
and Tangney, aye. That's unanimous, Mr. Chair.
Our next hearing is December the 2nd at 6:30. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili,
Definite aye.
DeMello,
Aye.
Koshulik,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Zampu,
Aye.
Tangney, aye. That's unanimous, Mr. Chair, at 7:43.